the operative word for me today is choice. It's the idea of choice and how we use choice in our lives every moment, picking and choosing what we want or don't want to do. It's very it's very complicated in many ways, this choice concept, because we want choice in the deepest way. We like choice. The more choices seems to be, the better at some level. Gives us an opportunity to pick, fine tune what it is that we like. And there's something beautiful about that as well. On the physical plane, choice is clearly everywhere, and it gets more and more as the days go on. I mean, we were out looking for paint one time, and yes, I want white paint. Okay, what shade of white paint do you want? And then what shades of that white paint do you want? And then we find there's like hundreds of different types of white that is out there. And so the choice of that becomes like, there's a point where the choice becomes too much. White, easy choice. Now two options, a little more challenging, takes a little more time, and 100 choices. And then we had to go find someone to help us pick because it was too complicated. There was just too many choices. And that happens a lot in this physical world, that we get overwhelmed by that kind of choice. And then we end up finding someone who can help us pick that choice. And this morning, as I said, I read an article about this younger guy. He was in his early 30s or whatever, and he was really posting all kinds of stuff about not wearing masks and having a choice. He's an American. And in America, right, we have freedoms. I mean, that's what we consider something that's so important in America is the ability to choose, freedom of choice. And he was spouting out the idea of freedom of choice with masks, that was his American right to do that. And so he posted, all over the place on Facebook and Twitter about, it's his option, and that's just what it is. And it's all kind of it's not really, the science and all that stuff it doesn't make sense to me. And so he chooses to do that. And then 2 months ago, he gets hit with the virus. And it eventually takes him out, kills him, gone. And his friend is like seeing that this guy is getting hammered on Facebook and stuff about his choice of not wearing masks and extolling the virtue of choice. And then there are the people on the other end going, yeah, choice is fantastic, but if it affects my choice, then you're walking on my turf. So it's a very interesting time. I mean, that just shows you how things go from one to the next. And just this is the newest opportunity or showcasing, shining a light on the idea of choice and how we pick different ways of choosing in this space of COVID, and now science and researchers and everyone's saying, this will save lives. Wear masks. Now, I personally, who likes to wear a mask? I mean, it's you go outside and you put a mask on, you can't see people anymore. It's just a very strange time, because I love to look at people and see the face and the smile and everything. And all of a sudden, you kind of eye only, and they're uncomfortable. But I choose to wear them because I trust the people who do the work that they are here to do, which is to research and to understand and to use science in the ways that that was designed to do to help humanity. So I choose to wear the mask. But there are many others who see it as an infringement on my choice, on their choice. So on this plane of humanity, of being human, we have 6 billion plus people or so on this planet, and everyone wants choice. And when our choice is different than their choice, then we can get in a situation where we start making them wrong for their choice. And then we lose that connection as humans. So we have all these choices from 6 billion people, but as you start to get closer into the more spiritual part of this, and you start to feel the more the connection of people, then you realize that the choice starts to slim down. In the spiritual space, choice slims down. In the physical plane, it just keeps expanding and expanding and expanding and expanding. But in the spiritual space, it's contracting, 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 contracting. And anyone who has experienced this feeling of contracting at one level as it's expanding in another level, but the choice part of it shrinks. As you get closer to being awakened, as you closer to enlighten yourself, as you get closer to the essence of containment of who you really are, of who I am really, who I am, and who everyone is, the choice starts to dissipate. Not so complicated, actually. It's very complicated out here with all these choices. As I said, yeah, I want white paint, but there's like tons of white paint. How might possibly a layperson in paint know how to choose? And so it's complicated because in this physical world, every time we have a choice, it slows the process down. I personally recently got a camera because I'm doing some live streaming and kind of setting up the studio here to do live streaming and to get it out more. And I studied it and there's the camera I want. And then I got the camera, and then before I got the camera, I saw another camera. Oh no, this one actually would be better. And I didn't open the box because I think I should probably get this other camera. And sure enough, they sent that one back. And then another one came, and I'm like, you know what? This other camera actually is even better. It's a better camera. It works even better. And so I sent that one back and finally got the camera that I'm quote unquote satisfied, fully satisfied with. So it's like, it's a very time consuming thing, this choice stuff that we have. It just takes, the more choices we have, the more complicated it gets and the slower we get, because we get bogged down by all of the things, all the options, all these beautiful options then become kind of in the way of getting to a spiritual place in yourself that is less and less and less and less and less. Not more and more and more and more. Now it sounds weird, right? I'm supposed to get spiritual so I can expand. Spiritual expanding and getting big and, being all over the universe. It seems awful big if you do that versus picking which camera I'm going to buy. Seems pretty small in comparison to that. But the notion that we are in this physical plane, in this physical body, and we're caught on one level of all these different choices. And then we have these other things on the spiritual side, on this place where you're trying to become more present. Then it's shrinking ourselves down into presence. So if I look at this moment, if I break down a moment in time, like right now, there's an infinite number of things, choices that we could be doing right now. Many, many choices. And in those choices, there's many things in each one of those choices. Yes, my choice is to go to the garden, the nursery. Oh, and there's all these plants and trees to pick from. But then I want this kind of thing. But then there's a bunch of different options in that particular category. So it's like I got all these choices, but then I got sub choices in that, and then sub choices in that. It's endless. And so this moment is like so fantastic because it contains on the physical plane all these different choices that we have at our disposal, especially in the United States. It's crazy. But if you start to get deeper into this moment, and I'm not looking at it from the physical thing of what is available, all the options and choices that are actually arising from my mind to go into, and I start to get closer to what this moment contains, the essence of what this moment contains is really, it's not all these things. That's not the essence of what this moment contains. And we're sitting here trying to find the essence of this moment. Feeling the essence of this moment is incredible. It's, that's where the word nirvana comes from. You're just sitting in this moment. And you feel everything without getting caught in any one of the things. It's just an overwhelming sensation and a feeling and a knowing. It's hard to explain. The physical plane is busy place. The spiritual plane is not. This moment is in the essence of this moment without all of the things that this moment offers, all the choices that it offers us. The essence of this moment is nothing. There is nothing in this moment. And when you get into that place, your choices go to nothing. And you're just here. Just here. Because you've removed every choice. And meditation and this is trying to remove the mind from all the choices it has every moment coming at us at every angle. Slow it down to put us in a place where we're not caught in these choices. And if you notice, you do it enough, you start to notice you actually have less choices. You're just becoming the essence of who you are at one level and the essence of just this moment with nothing. That nothingness is incredible. The word, it's funny. It's nothing, but it's everything. But it's not one thing. It's everything. So if I said everything, it would be like your mind would freak out. If I say nothing, your mind kind of freaks out too because it thinks it's, well, why do I want nothing? I like choices. Choices mean have a lot of things. You're telling me to go into a place that has no choice. My mind's going to freak a little bit on that one because it wants to have choice. But in this space, choice is removed. And so now you're completely in the moment, the essence of the moment, which is not caught in anything. And you have no choice here in it. When you're in it, there is no choice. And then all the things on the physical plane, then you're just playing with everything in that way. You're having fun with it. But you can feel underneath the thing that is the essence that's holding all these physical choices is this place of just pure presence. Nothing. No choice. So there's nowhere to go. That's why when I said in the beginning, I said, sit here and let the universe, feel the universe is coming to you. Don't go out to it. Just come to you. Because if you're holding that place of nothingness, it'll come in. Because you're not going out to look for choices. You're just, boom. The Buddha sat under that tree. I'm not moving, right? I'm not moving. Because there's something in him realized that the moving, chasing this stuff was not working. It was like, and then the universe came to him. Everything comes in. Because you're getting deeper into this place, this essence of this moment which has no choice, and it's so beautifully silent and quiet, but so connected. You feel so much here because you're not choosing. Once you choose, it's like, okay, here comes a moment, and then I choose. Now I have to break myself up and say, okay, we're this way, this way. Oh, and another path went straight ahead, and there's one behind. I mean, it just keeps rising, and then you keep being broken up into pieces, constantly into pieces. Meditation is trying to bring these pieces into one. We all have this incredible parts of us that are just, what I notice is that we're caught in all these choices and we lose track of this inner knowing. And our inner knowing has all these parts to us, the physical part to us and the spiritual part to us. And before we existed here as a being, and then the after we leave this place as a being. And they're all working instantaneously together, all of this, living and dying every moment. So rising right now, I'm living and dying in this moment, and this knowingness of being in that place, in the place of this presence. So we're not going out rushing for things. We're going in, feeling the layers of all these choices. And then as you get closer and get quieter and get more here, and let things start to come into you, then there's the choices start to diminish. You start to notice that, and you start to free yourself up. You feel light. There's lightness to it. The incredible lightness of being. Right? It wasn't incredible lightness of being a lot of things. Incredible lightness of being. There is an incredible lightness of that. And when we get to that place, it's like, I don't want to leave this place. It's fantastic. And then the mind kind of wanders and starts to chase again. I want this, I want that. It's not an easy thing to slow this thing down enough. But know that the essence of this moment, the essence that holds all of these choices, is the thing that you want to keep going into understanding yourself, to deepen that part, to sit in this place like meditating and just realizing that this moment is not all of this choices. It's just essence of holding all this stuff, but it's in and of itself nothing. And it's an awesome place because it holds all of this. That's the game, not the choices. That's not the game. Choosing choices, that comes and goes quickly, as we know. That's not the game in our existence. It's to open ourselves up into this moment in its essence before something comes out of it, before the arising of choice. That's the game. So we're doing that here, spending time in it, playing, listening, feeling, connecting into this space of nothing. It's so incredibly beautiful. So, I don't want to make anyone right or wrong about wearing masks, because that's a choice that people do have. At the same time, we know the ramifications of that kind of choice on the physical plane. If we don't listen, then we get ourselves into problems on this physical level. So choice has its issues with other people. No mask, we got a problem. On the physical plane, on choice, we have all kinds of problems. But in the place of presence, no problems. In the place of this moment, the essence of this moment, there is no problem. None. Everything is unified. Everything is connected. Everything is love. There is no mask, no mask here, actually. You're in the place that is before those arise. And this is where we continue to bring yourselves into that space and closer, and you'll feel more and more love, even the people who choose differently than you or I do. And that love can emanate into others. That changes them as well. But if you pick choosing, and then they choose and you don't agree, then it becomes, on this physical plane, we just get stuck there and we don't go any deeper than that. So I'm glad that we're continuing to be here and to deepen this place of nothing, this moment of nothingness, to free ourselves ultimately from all of these choices, to be able to then play in these choices. COVID has reduced choices. You know, you can't go to restaurants. All the choices of restaurants have reduced immensely. And now that's the whole point here, is like you said, divine intervention, right? Like, we've got so many choices, and divine intervention, COVID shows up, and there's like, oh, it shrinks it back to, you know, kind of a manageable place for all of us. And then we're focused more on ourselves a little bit more, because we don't have all those choices. And like I said, when you have all these choices on the physical plane, you will easily lose this center, because it's so consuming in this physical plane to go there. But now we have less of those, and we're noticing that, you know, that's kind of the divine intervention you're talking about, where it's getting us closer into this moment with ourselves, because we have less choices. And so if you look at the parallels between what he's saying, from that to, are you getting deeper in right now? Has the last 3 months brought you closer into yourself, or is it like been more busy? And if it's bringing you in, you're noticing that it was a divine intervention that kind of forced us to do that, right? It's like, you like, okay, here's the momentum, it starts, don't lose it, because now things are starting to open up, traffic's starting to get a little busy again, it's starting to, you know, more options are starting to show up again. So it's easy to go right back into that space of choice and lose this deeper thing that we're moving in towards as a consciousness, a world consciousness. Then it's either like it stays around long enough so that we continue this inward space, so that the outward space doesn't pull us out. And that's where the idea of just continuing in this moment to go into that place of no choice is really, again, as I say, that's the game. And COVID is giving us, kind of bringing us back a little bit to closer to that place. They may say that, you know, this is a hoax at some level. You've heard that from people, like, this is really, they're just making us do this stuff because it's really not the effect that it's having. And so they may not even think in terms of that they're infecting you. They may just be thinking that's their choice is more important than your choice. So they may not even bring you in. Some people, you know, at the point where you don't even see anybody else's, your choice doesn't, you don't see the ramifications, what you're talking about. That's someone who's a little, you know, a little deeper in the consciousness, where they can feel their effect in other people. But there are many people who don't, they're so narrow, they just cannot feel the ramification of others. And so they don't even put it into their psyche. You know, we're at a different place in the Bay Area in many ways. And so that's, you know, we think that's the case, but there's a lot of people who aren't even that spatial to even see that consequence in their action. They just see it as an egotist, you know, as a very egoic thing of the choice of being free in a country that gives choice, and whatever happens, happens. I mean, they're clearly made the choice of stopping at a red light, I would imagine, and not going through that red light because they want to go through the red light, right? You say there's a consequence of getting hit by another car. Well, you know, but their choice was not to hit the other car. I mean, you could just, right? It's like, it's kind of a funny thing, but they've made many, many choices and they don't even know they're doing it. But in this place, they think they're doing it. And so they gets very egoic. And that's where it gets a little bit shaky when the egoic parts of it takes over. Again, that's in this realm of choiceness. And like I said, as the essence of going into this moment, into the essence of this moment, all ego dissolves. There is none, zero, nothing. And then choice, nothing, which then gives you everything, every possible choice, you know, you can imagine, but it's not caught into the choices that we individually do as a human egoic being. We will never unify ourselves on the mental level. It just will never happen. As long as we stay in the egoic mental space of choice, we'll never unify ourselves. It will just never happen. We'll always have sides. The only way out is through going so deep into this moment to free ourselves in it consciously at that level. Because the other thing else, everything else is at some level a band-aid approach, and it works for a group of people, then doesn't work for another group of people. It never fully unifies the field of what we exist in. It's just, it's too much for the mind to deal with. So like, that's why this, again, that's why going inside and getting deeper into the truth, the deep, deep, deep reality, and away from the physical external realities, then you start to come back out of that and into this physical reality with a completely different truth, and that one that shoots through any choice truth, egoic truth. And every side on this physical plane has egoic truth, whether it's Democrat or Republican, it doesn't really matter. It's still an egoic level of truth to it. And it's always going to, it's always not going to, it's not going to unify the two heads, these places together. It requires a different thing. This COVID again is really reducing the options here. And if we just keep feeling what that really, really, really means, then we start to get closer into, again, what the essence of our existence is. And once we start to feel our existence in this moment, then all the stuff that we deal with on this physical plane get lessened, it gets weakened, completely weakened. Trump, whatever, it's weakened. Even the response to that is weakened in the sense of it doesn't pull you out of this place, and then you're in this place, and now you have immense force for good and love and connection in this, and you're less in the head, less thinking, less egoic. You're much faster than any of those places will ever get you. There's a place that's so fast that there is no egoic place, egoic human that can stay up with it. We're just too slow in this space, that we need to speed up in this space. And the COVID, it's trying to it's trying to speed us up by offering less options. And that's just, you know, that just feels so clear to me about this whole thing that we're in right now. Thank you so much for coming today, and I hope everyone has like the most fantastic day ever today. Thank you. Thank you, guys.